That thing that you're talking about is an app that you've created called
That's
Buddy.
right. Buddies. So Buddies is a mobile app that connects individuals who are going through similar hardship in life and loss. I founded Buddies after my son passed away very suddenly. My wife and I had sought various forms of really therapy to help cope with that grief. One of the ways that really gave us comfort and hope was connecting with another couple who had really experienced the same tragic loss. And that ability to find that connection was what led us to create Buddies.
This is the When You Die podcast. If it has to do with death and dying, we're talking about it. Today's host is Kelly Edwards.
Joining us on the When You Die podcast today is James Morgan. James and his wife Catie suffered a terrible, terrible loss when their 1-year-old son James died suddenly and unexpectedly. And through their grief and maneuvering through that time took a very big toll on the Morgans, but it also increased the awareness that this is something that is not uncommon. And the best way that they could navigate through the grief was to find people who had gone through it as well. James, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Kelly.
So we're going to get to what the result was, because there is a positive thing that has come out of this. But what I want to do first is I want to talk a little bit about James. James was your son.
That's right. Yeah. He's named after me.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And he was a year?
He passed away on his first birthday, the morning of.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, I can't even, there's no words. And I know that you've probably heard that a lot.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk a little bit about that grief, that absolutely unspeakable grief that you and Catie experienced.
Yeah. So the day before, Catie and I were going to get away for one night. We were going to a football game to spend the night with some friends, and my parents were going to watch our kids. And we hadn't been away too much over that course of that first year, just because of going through new baby and just haven't had a lot of date nights. And so my parents were like, "Hey, y'all go get away. We'll watch them. We'll watch the kids." And we were very grateful that they were going to come just spend the night at our house and take care of them. I'll never forget that next morning we woke up at like first thing, I think it was like 6 a.m. with my mother calling immediately, just couldn't even speak hardly. She was just kind of screaming, crying, telling us that they went into James's nursery and he was unresponsive. He was in his crib. There was nothing in his crib. At that age, we put him on his back, but he was 1 year old, and that day he was 1 year old. He had rolled over, and we still to this day do not know what caused the death, but they claimed it was SUDS, which is sudden unexplainable death syndrome, because he was one. SIDS is for infants, and we did a lot of tests on ourselves just to kind of see if there was some type of disease, and never found out the reason why he passed. We know that there was a reason, and we want to turn what we've gone through with our tragedy into something to help people. So that's how we're taking his passing, to turn it into something as a positive for our family and for others.
And so that thing that you're talking about is an app that you've created called
That's
Buddy.
right. Buddies. So Buddies is a mobile app that connects individuals who are going through similar hardship in life and loss. I founded Buddies after my son passed away very suddenly. My wife and I had sought various forms of really therapy to help cope with that grief. One of the ways that really gave us comfort and hope was connecting with another couple who had really experienced the same tragic loss. And that ability to find that connection was what led us to create Buddies. We wanted to help other people all across the world and country, just to say, hey, if you're going through something that you're not too sure what resources or how you're feeling, if that's normal, having that connection with somebody that's actually walked through that same journey is so helpful. And it just provides hope that, hey, if other people can get through it, maybe I can too. That was just something that we said, all right, looking at kind of our experiences, we know that this is what helped us, and we wanted to share that we're viewing it as a way that we're continuing to move on with our son in this life journey that we're in. We talk about buddies with our kids now, and it's a way for us to remember our son, because even though he's not here on earth with us today, we know he's still with us every day. And so we talk about him every day. We have pictures of him all throughout our house. And when we send out Christmas cards, we still include his name and everything, because he's still, again, a very big part of our family.
I know that, like, when we talk about that thing that people say, and people mean well, always, especially when you're grieving and we don't know what to say. And when you hear that expression, I can't even imagine. It's kind of what brought this app about, because it is for people who need to talk to people who can imagine, who do know what it is. What was it that you found really resonated with you when you finally got to speak to somebody who went through it?
It made me feel like I was normal in a way, like I wasn't the only one that had ever experienced this. It first happened, I was like, gosh, I've never thought of this tragedy ever happening to us. And I would never hope that it ever happened to anybody. Losing a child, having somebody I could actually open up to and talk with that understood it, helped me express kind of some feelings and made me feel, again, like comfort and hope that hey, I think we can get through it. It had been years since their tragic accident had happened, and they were able to move forward with their lives and have other children. And I was like, okay, if they can do it, we can do it. Just having that accountability partner was so huge, and especially in that initial cycle of that grieving process that we were in.
The name itself of the app is very lovely, because not only was James was your little buddy, but you also had another buddy.
Yes, that's my father-in-law. My father-in-law went by the name Buddy, and he passed away of colon cancer. And he was a very special man, and I was very close to him. Buddies is a way to honor both him and my son. It's something that my wife and I have always wanted to do, to help get back on what we've experienced too with his passing. So yeah, the Buddies is really named after both my son and my father-in-law. You're right.
And it's also to find buddies, it is to find people to connect with. Let's talk about the app and how it works.
Our slogan is find one, be one. So it's to go there to find a buddy when you need one, but it's also there to be a buddy. If you've been through a challenge or hardship in life and you're in a good place, but you want to turn that challenge into purpose and really give back to your community, it's a way to really take what you've gone through to help other people. In today's times, it's now needed more than ever to really share. And the idea around creating the app was to really connect people. It's available 24/7. It's a free app, and it's all peer-to-peer support. And it's just a way to connect either one-to-one in a private chat with each other. Inside the app, it doesn't take you to a text message, but it's all text-like experiences. And you can also join communities that are private communities, and you just join it based on the topic that you sign up for. And so what really separates Buddies from other communities that are out there today is the ability to build out your profile and quickly find people that you have other commonalities with, whether that's your same state, or it could be very specific disease that you may want to go in our search bar and type in. It would quickly pull up everybody profile that has that in there. So you don't have to go through chats to read other people's comments to know if you may or may not have something in common with them. It just expedites that process for you. And that's what we wanted to do, was just kind of help bring that connection to people as quickly as possible. Just because in our experiences, we found that it was harder to, again, find people that had gone through something like what we did. And so just trying to bring that connection to as many people as possible is what we want to do.
And it's not just for death. We talk a lot about grief as being when someone dies. We have grief every day. There's something every day. And so on the page that talks about the app on the website, there's a little thing at the bottom that says resources. And there are many different kinds of resources. It could be depression. It could be illness, as you said. It's just whatever you're going through, it's to be able to find that support.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, loss of a loved one. There's also depression, anxiety, relationships. You're going through some other things. I mean, there's a community out there for you on Buddies, and we have other resources available to help you find whatever it is you may need. So, we want to create the ability for every one of our users to have their own personal experience with Buddies. It's not just tailored for one group of individuals.
And as you mentioned, this time in the history of the world, and we're still pandemic, and we've isolated ourselves. So if you're isolating already because of a grief, it's worldwide. You can talk to anybody.
That's right. Absolutely. It's been harder for people to really still feel safe and go out to do community events, to give back within their community and find connection with other people. And having the ability to use your phone to make a connection with somebody is so important. And you never know when you may need it. In the middle of the night that you're up and thinking about things and just need somebody to talk to. That's why we wanted to have the app again, just because in different time zones, people may be available to chat, have a text chain back and forth with one another, or post questions into the community you have that common thread with. It's a really good way just to ask questions, know that you're not alone out there on your journey, and really help one another, because it's really important to do life together as opposed to being by yourself and bottling up these thoughts and questions you may have about grieving, because unfortunately that's something we're all going to experience in life. We're going to lose very close loved ones. It's just one of the things that we experience. You just never know when that time's going to be.
We're all grieving at this point in life, and maybe we can have sort of pinpointed to a certain topic, but it's there and we all know. I mean, we can't deny that. We all feel that dread.
Mm-hmm.
So you've launched the app, and there are things that are also coming down the road.
So we are every day seeking feedback from our users in our community, just wanting to make sure that we're continuing to provide value to them. Here in the next few weeks, we're about to launch a new daily check-in prompt feature to help really kind of gamify your mental health in a way, just that you can watch your trends of if you've had a great day, good day, not so good day, and have kind of like a journal to where you can write in the app to kind of keep up with what's going on. And we'll provide the analytics around that to let you know, hey, we've seen a trend of this and you're doing a great job, and continuing to encourage our users if they've had a good streak. Or if not, we're letting them know that, hey, here's some resources, here's some articles that we would recommend, or some buddies that are like you that could talk to. So we're providing that for them. And two, with the app, you can be anonymous when you sign up. So if you're not comfortable just yet to open up, you can go out there and look at communities and read what people are talking about as well, just until you're ready to put yourself out there. Because we do know that everybody grieves at different times and everybody is experiencing different things. Don't ever want to force anybody to put anything in the app that they're not comfortable with. But there are tools in place within the app to help you report any problems that may pop up. If somebody were to ever make you feel uncomfortable, or you just wanted to just not share any of your information, you can do that. Buddies is still a tool and a community that you can still join.
What are the benefits that you're seeing? Like, you're getting feedback from people?
Yes, absolutely. We love getting feedback. It's so helpful for us just to understand what people need. It's helpful for us knowing that we've created this community. What we've experienced is helping other people, and that's our number one goal, is just trying to give back and take, again, our experiences and turn our pain into purpose.
Mhm. I think that's a really beautiful thing. You have two options, I guess, in a situation, right? It's to shut down and isolate and keep it to yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As you say, turn it into purpose. And the fact that you don't want anybody to go through that and feel lost and disconnected.
Yeah. Don't want anybody going out there and experiencing anything quite like what we did and just feeling alone, because there's so many people out there that know what you're going through. And this is just a way to help bridge that and bring everybody together. It just makes the world a better place, in my opinion.
I think you're right. So are there other people on board, professional people, in terms of, counseling and stuff like that?
So that's what we're reaching out to right now. Licensed professionals to help us with. We're starting a blog and going to have a news feed that will have all those articles from licensed professionals that will live in the app itself. And so people can log in and see the latest articles that are written for Buddies, our blog, that'll be in there. That'll be phase two, what we're bringing here probably this summer.
Great. Do you know now how many users you have?
Yeah, we have close to almost 1,000.
Wow. So it's really growing.
It is, yeah. And we're really trying to continue to build it out and really looking to get more and more here in the coming months.
When you were going through the grief and before you had gone to counseling, you said, and trying to get a handle on it, can you pinpoint something that you may have had as the first glimpse of hope?
Right after our son passed, we had a neighbor come over to our house and talk to us about her friend. That was the couple that we had ended up meeting, and they had invited us over to talk to us. I'll never forget that it was that night that we came over there and they had kind of shared with us their story, and seeing that they had had additional kids was that moment that I was like, okay, I was scared that this was happen again and we weren't going to want to have any more children. And so seeing that they were able to still overcome that fear was very hopeful. And it was probably, let's see, it was 4 weeks after our son passed, we found out that my wife was pregnant. It wasn't planned. We had always had challenges getting pregnant. It was a miracle, and it was part of that moment of, oh my gosh, this is happening. And we were very grateful. And we've since gone on to have 2 children since our son passed, and everybody's doing great. And we just, again, love talking about him daily with all of our children.
How old are your kids first?
We have a 8, a 3, and James would be 5,
Right.
and now a 6-week-old.
Holy.
A boy. So it's the 2 older are girls, and then our 6-week is a little boy.
One of the things I'm always interested in is also people talking to their children about death and explaining. And now that you've got, because so your oldest child would have been in the picture when James died.
She was at the house when he passed. So kind of going back to that story, when my mom had called us, we were about 45 minutes away. And so we flashers on, driving probably 100 miles an hour, rushing to get to the hospital. And he had already passed before we got to the hospital. He was just unresponsive. And my daughter was at the house, and she was 3. So she remembers that first year was very difficult for her because she saw him and saw his face was blue because he had already passed and didn't have oxygen. And so that first year, she was, every time she'd color, she would be coloring faces blue because that's what she remembered. But she had did a little therapy and has been doing great and loves talking about him. All we know to do is continue to talk about him too, and let her open up and not try and not talk about death with her, because it's part of life, and we know that it can happen at any time. And we want our kids to understand that every day is a blessing. We try and live each day like it's our last. So that's what we're really trying to do, and teach them that same concept, and just be so thankful for everything that we have and the moments that we have together.
Also, when they see you working on this project, they know what this project is. There's also that teaching of compassion and of caring, and that's a lovely legacy as well to have in honor of James.
You're absolutely right. That is something that my oldest, she gets it. My 3-year-old's she doesn't really know yet. but our 8-year-old, she knows what our logo stands for. She knows what we're doing, and you're so right. It's a way to teach her to want to help other people and to have passion to help others. It's something that we're trying to instill in her. She loves hearing about it and loves hearing what the latest things that we're doing with Buddies. You're right, teaching her that compassion.
Can you talk about the logo?
So our logo is in the shape of a butterfly. If you look at it the left and right, it kind of is 2 B's backwards, and those stand for Buddy, my father-in-law, and our little son James. but it's a butterfly because of the transformation of what a butterfly goes through. And we think that we all go through hardships and loss, and just everybody has a journey that we're on. And I think that this journey that we all go through, it builds character and it builds who we are as individuals and people. And at the end of our journey and what we're going through, we're like a butterfly. It's more beautiful on the end. And if you take what you go through and turn it into good things, it's like a butterfly.
So what do you hope for the app? What are the things that you really want to see happen?
We enjoy hearing user testimonies from people. We continue to love to see the engagement in our communities, trying to help one person at a time, really just giving back to all the different communities and just trying to build it one day at a time too. We're not looking too far ahead because we really are just enjoying the process and are excited to just get it out and try and help people as much as we can with it.
Now, the Buddies app is BUDDYS, no apostrophe, just the Buddies, and
Buddies.
it is available where you would download apps, right?
It's Google Play and the App Store.
In the App Store.
And we have a website. It's buddiesapp.com. So BUDDYSAPP.com.
Are you the only person that's working on this? Is there a team in place?
So my wife helps me a fair amount with it as well. And then we have a partner that we have been working with that's been kind of like a startup organization that helps us market it and grow it and help us with our development. So I don't know how to program and write all the code. So they've been doing a lot of that for us. They've been a great help. So
that's great. You also have another job. So this is
absolutely
taking up a lot of your time as well.
This is something my wife jumps in and helps out a good amount. And I do this a lot on nights and weekends because it is definitely a passion for me.
Mm-hmm. James, I want to thank you so much. I really love this idea of the connecting and of the fact that people who have gone through what you're going through, that's a wonderful resource to be able to access. I hope that this is a wonderful success because it's going to bring a lot of help to people.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, that was our goal because it's free and we know that therapy can be very expensive. And so we wanted to just knock down that roadblock for everybody, just to be able to reach out and if they need somebody to talk with, we're out there. So
great. James, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna download that app.
Thanks so much, Kelly. Let me know your feedback.
I will for sure. Thank you so much.
This conversation is brought to you by the When You Die Project. From existential afterlife questions to palliative care and the nuts and bolts of green burial. If it has to do with death, we're talking about it. WhenYouDie.org